Tonight, we talk about all the latest actions of the Supreme Court and how about the money? Gas prices are up. What about inflation? Brian Low is in the building to tell you about that. A busy one to get started. Roll it, Kyle. Well, how about this? We've been doing this 1 year now. This marks 1 year's worth of shows, and you putting up with me coming into your homes or wherever on a Friday or Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much for making this happen. And tonight we got a busy one. We're going to finish the show talking about dollars and cents and what's happening in Washington, D.C., but we're going to start the show talking about what the Supreme Court has been doing as of late. Attorney Jim Boren is on the set. We've had a pretty marvelous conversation the last few minutes before starting the show, talking about a great number of things. As most of you know, topic number 1, 2, or 3 on the list of what the news media is talking about concerns the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade, a law created in 1973. Norma McCorvey, aka Jane Roe, was the subject of this legislation that gave women the right to choose to abort babies of their own volition, and that's now overturned. So Jim, as we get into this, let's define the context of what this is now. They did not ban abortion. They kicked it, they got rid of the law, which kicks it back to the states. Am I doing right so far?
You got it.
Okay. So 26 states around the country had laws on the books passed by their legislatures, Louisiana is one of them, that said if Roe versus Wade was ever overturned, it would trigger a ban in these states.
Right.
Correct so far?
Right.
So now, this creates this conundrum that we're trying to figure out. So first, are you surprised by this ruling by the Supreme Court? And what's your perspective on what it creates?
Well, I'm not surprised by it. I'm disappointed personally because I'm a pro-choice person and have been. I think it's a disruptive to the legal system to take 40 or 50 years of precedent, and because these two people are now on the Supreme Court, they change what the rules are, but that's the way the system works in the United States, so we just have to tolerate it. What I am worried about is that in Louisiana and in other states, a woman who chooses to get an abortion, for example, because she was raped or because of incest, can go to prison, along with anyone who helps her, that drives her to the place or that helps her medically do it, and go to prison. And it's not new. You know, Louisiana prosecuted women for abortion in the past, back in the 70s, before this law was passed. So what criminal defense lawyers do, which is my part of it, my part of the process is to represent people and make strategies for people who might be charged under this new law, under whatever new law the Louisiana legislature concocts. And so it's not that different from defending other criminal cases. The government has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are the person that had an abortion and who provided it. But what will happen is that I think is that it will overwhelm the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
Some districts, some places, like Jason Williams in New Orleans, for example, a district attorney, says, I'm not going to prosecute anybody for seeking an abortion. I think they have a right to it. Whereas other places where the prosecutors are considerably more conservative, right-wing, pro-life people, I think they're salivating over the prospect of prosecuting women and doctors and putting them in prison to establish what big tough guys they are. So most of the people who would be facing those charges are going to be low-income people, many people of color who simply do not have the resources to get an abortion that a wealthier person might have.
So I got about a minute, and I want to start this, and then we'll come back and go with it. It just seems so complicated because, like you say, a prosecutor in say, New Orleans versus one in Caddo Parish, which are different ends of a political spectrum, we'll have two perspectives on this. It just clouds the whole thing, though, right?
It does. But it also, what I think of is that it gives us a legal grounds. Is that equal protection of the law, that depending upon what parish you are living in, you can get an abortion safely, and in another parish that you cannot? So that's an issue for lawyers to litigate and say, you ought not be prosecuting my client because of that.
Well, I'm going to take a break and come back and talk more with Jim about what's happening with this case. And, you know, it's interesting. I think it's going to end up back before the Supreme Court, and we'll talk about that.
You're right.
And also, how are you doing with your dollars and cents? Brian Low has perspective on that. He's on the show later on. Stay right there. Back in just a moment. So as we referenced at the beginning of the show, 26 states have laws on the books that ban abortion, and companies, Jim, have said, a lot of big companies have said, if they have employees in one state that want to have an abortion, they will pay for them to travel to one where it is legal. You mentioned Orleans Parish and the lack of interest in prosecution versus, say, another conservative area of the state. I think this is going to end up before the Supreme Court again, because at some point, how do you uniform it? And it just seems like a mess. Again, you got the law degree, I don't. I just don't understand.
It is going to end up. We're going to be. If I live for 10 years and you invite me back on your show, I will still be talking about the defense and the attacks on this abortion decision. It's going to be litigated at state court levels. It's going to be litigated at federal court levels, and the United States Supreme Court will have to revisit the subject in some way.
So let's game this out. All right. So let's say within the next 5 years, this is such an issue because depending on what state you're in, red or blue, you can or cannot have it. It goes back before the Supreme Court in the next 5 years. I suspect the majority is still going to be at minimum 5-4. I think the justice who's most likely to retire in the close future is probably Justice Thomas. So even if you replace Justice Thomas because there is a Democrat in the White House and you don't know how that's going to go, it's still going to be a 5-4 majority, right? Then this becomes the Roberts Court because he's the swing vote one way or the other. If they affirm it and they say, okay, no, we're not changing our mind, then what happens?
You know, I don't know that anyone has thought through the ramifications of this. I think that Justice Roberts was attempting to say this statute in Mississippi passes constitutional muster, but Roe versus Wade was is still the law of the land in that you cannot regulate completely abortions. So I don't know where all of that is going to go. I know that there's going to be a lot of misery for a lot of women and people who support women that want abortions over the next couple of years. That's the tragedy of it.
The pro-life groundswell has been building for some time, and I believe when the 6-3 majority happened, I personally thought that something like this was inevitable, at least an attempt at it, and here we are dealing with it. I want to ask about something else. So the Supreme Court also walked back some of what we call Miranda rights, the 1960 Miranda versus Arizona Fifth Amendment protection. That means, and we were talking about this, most people know about Miranda by watching movies or television where they hear a police officer say you have the right to remain silent. Well, this protects a citizen against self-incrimination, correct?
Right.
And so now, if an officer gets information from a potential suspect before he or she is Mirandized, they are now allowed to use that.
No, not exactly.
Okay.
So this case, the Miranda case says that you have to be informed of your rights.
Right.
And if you are not informed of your rights, whatever statement that you make cannot be used against you.
Right.
So I forget the name of the fella who filed a lawsuit and said, you violated my Miranda rights, you violated my civil rights. So in addition to you not being allowed to use my case, that evidence, I'm going to sue you for violating my rights. And what the Supreme Court said is no. You can't sue a police officer for violating your Miranda rights. Your remedy is to say in court, in the criminal case, you can't use this against me. So it's not look, my side of the fence, which is the left-wing liberal side of the fence, surprisingly.
Nobody picked up on that.
We like to gripe about everything that the Supreme Court does. And to me, I think that we should save our powder for a more important battle than this. It does indicate that the Supreme Court is willing to weaken some rights that have been granted for the last 60 or 70 years, but it's...
But what does it mean to a person who is detained by a police officer? What does it mean to them?
It means that they should continue to do what they watched on television, which is to keep their mouth shut and talk to a lawyer instead of making it easy for the government to find evidence against them. You still have that right, and if they violate that right, they can't use the statement. So people should say, I want to wait and talk to a lawyer before I talk to you, officer.
How hard is it, I got about a minute, how hard is it to get people to understand rights?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get them to understand it, and it's an intimidating atmosphere. It's really hard if you're an innocent person to say, I'm not going to talk to you, officer, until I get a lawyer, which is what you should say. But it's difficult to say that because there's just this natural thing that you're not cooperating.
I'm going to get you to come back to talk about this shooting that happened recently. Would you do that?
I will.
All right, let's talk about you and your money. Brian Low is on the set next. Stay right there. You know, families across the country have been having similar conversations about their future based upon how the economy is doing. And all of us have griped about gas prices or the price of bread or rice at the grocery store. Well, let's talk a little bit about that with Brian Low, with Brian Low Financial, who's been working in the financial industry for a couple decades, and you cover the state of Louisiana. And so before we get into the weeds about this, I want to start by just asking a top of the wave question. How are businesses and families doing? Because I know you deal with both as it relates to this economy.
Well, as far as businesses are concerned, you know, there's been benefits given out there, the PPP money. If you had employees, there's such a thing called the ERC program, so you get some free money back from the government. So if you're a business owner and you're kind of struggling, we can get some of that money back. It's 20% to 50% of your payroll. So a lot of CPAs are busy. They don't have time. They don't want to do that. So we have a program. We can get you that money pretty quick. So we'll file and get the money back for you quickly.
What about families?
Families, I would say the gas prices are up. Staycations are cool today. Right? So you know, even to go to Florida, it's a little more difficult to get there. So gas prices are putting a little pinch on people to trying to save that money, right? So,
you know, I know you do these classes with people across the state, and just talking with Jim about teaching people rights, teaching people financial literacy or habits. is how difficult is that, and how long does it take you to get someone into a rhythm?
Yeah, everything's gone up, right?
Yeah.
So, our parents grew up, they saved, and they put money away for a long period of time, right? So now, a cost of a home today, think about it, 25 coming out of college, 2 cars, a house, big mortgage.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of money to just go, and then every girl, no offense, wants to wear the nice, pretty outfit today and a new purse, and it just gets expensive, right? And they want to travel.
Yeah.
So there's only so much money to go around, but smart people need help, right?
Yeah.
So I know when I graduated, I finished in finance, and the woman that gave me my diploma, I said, look, these people out working at Chase Bank, they didn't know what to do with their money. So
Right.
I said, we're going to teach a financial class. She says, who's going to teach it? I said, I'll teach it. So, physicians, attorneys, the guy just left. You'd be surprised these smart people don't know all the rules and regulations to help lower their taxes. If you're a business owner, it's very common. We save 50 grand a year, $100,000 a year in taxes, just like getting free money back.
Yeah.
They called their CPA and said, hey, what about the ERC program? There's free money. And the guy says, no, that's just too difficult to get. Well, it's not, it's just a little extra effort. So.
What's the #1 mistake a business makes? The thing that you see consistently from a business that you say, don't do that.
Yeah, look, we're all guilty of it as
Yeah.
business owners.
Yeah.
You feel like you can't delegate. You want to stay up till 10 o'clock doing everything yourself, but I've learned to delegate, right? And so to make a strategy, push it off on somebody else. And all you people out there that aren't working, you younger people, we're actually hiring people overseas now.
Right.
So it's going to flip. I
Yeah.
can tell you right now, it's going to flip.
What do you mean when
I
you
say it's going to flip? These people that have gotten free money, staying
Yeah.
at home, not working, these
Yeah.
younger people, we're hiring people overseas now, very cheap, working really hard.
Yeah.
And so they're going to take your job.
And so when they want to get back into the workforce, those jobs might not be there.
They're outsourced.
I just had this conversation with someone yesterday wondering what the other side of this is going to look
It's
like,
coming.
and you just answered that
It's
question.
coming.
So let's drill down on that a little
Yeah.
bit. So for people who are deciding not to get into the workforce,
Exactly.
companies are hiring overseas talent, because if you're working virtually anyway, you could do that.
Exactly.
So now when you want to get back, that spot might not
Yeah,
be
look,
there.
we have maybe 100 resumes that might come in, and none of them were qualified per se.
Yeah.
We went overseas to the Philippines, and we've got great jobs.
Yeah.
They're hungry. They have degrees themselves,
Yeah.
and it's cheap. So it's amazing.
That's pretty
So
scary.
more and more business owners are going to figure this out. If you haven't figured it out, give me a call. I'll give you some numbers to call.
Listen, but that's one of the things, because I have friends, as I'm sure you do, who talk about the quality of work from employees. And it's frustrating because, beggars can't be choosers. So you have to deal with it because there's nobody else to go and get.
Exactly.
But if you can go get talent overseas, then you don't have to tolerate
It's
a less
happening
than.
now, and it's going to get better for the business owner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Boy, I bet you a lot of people perked up hearing that. So
Exactly.
we're going to talk about, I want to start, I got about a minute. I want to talk about this roadmap, Kyle, if we can get that up on the screen. One of the things that you sent, kind of values-based retirement roadmap, here it is.
Yep.
So tell me about this.
Hey, look, first of all, you got to have an income plan. Most people have a growth plan, they don't have an income plan. So we specialize in income planning. We actually put together the roadmap, which includes the tax plan. So a lot of people don't know how to lower their taxes in some way, and then make sure you don't run out of money. So the last thing you want to do, Clay, is retire at 62 or 65 and do what? Run out of money.
Yeah.
So obviously the market's crazy right now. Let's not forget, 2000 to 03, the market lost 50%. It took 4 years for the market to come back, and then 2007, the Dow was at 14,000. It lost 50% by 2009. So guess what, Clay? We've had 10 years of the biggest bull market in history. So people have kind of forgotten that. So think about it. The guy has $1 million. He loses 20% of the market. He's down $200,000. He may work 3 or 4 more years to get the money back, or live on less. So Clay, 2 things: living on less and working longer don't
Hang
go
on.
so well.
So we're going to do another segment with Brian, drilling down on this just a little bit, and then going back to the roadmap. And then what are something that you could do right now to protect yourself and plan for your future? We'll talk with Brian Low Financial about that. And next week, Stephen Wagaspack with Lobby will be on the set. Back with more show in just a moment. I bet a lot of people sat up in their chairs when Brian said a second ago that they're going to find talent overseas, and that's such a shame. It's really good to see Americans at work, and more when you call a company or you get a call, some person with an aggressively thick Indian accent with the name Joe is saying they're there to serve you, and that could be coming to a business near you. Let's talk a little bit more about this roadmap that you laid out a second ago. You talked about tax-free money, which makes everybody perk up. It made me perk up. What is that? Explain that a little bit more.
Well, look, most of these people, you've been working for 30 years for Exxon or Dow Chemical, some great company. So you've been putting money away on a pre-tax basis, and now you have, let's say, $1 million inside your 401k. Well, guess what? That's not your money, Clay. IRS wants 30 to 40% of that money.
Yep.
So now you're already half of it, 30 of it's already gone, and then you got to take income, so then you're taxed on it again, right? So ultimately, how can we put more of that money in your pocket? The answer today is convert more of that money to tax-free. So tax-free is great. Who wants more tax-free income? I do. You do. We all do.
Yeah.
So we create this tax-free Roth IRA. So if you're 62, 65, and retired, we want to convert maybe 10% of that money to now a Roth. So let's say $100,000, convert it, pay a little taxes today. Clay, taxes are on sale today.
Taxes are on sale?
Taxes are on sale today. What am I meaning?
Yeah.
In the next 2 to 5 years, taxes are only going up.
Yeah.
You know, Biden told you he's going to raise your taxes.
Yep.
It's coming. So here it is. Taxes are on sale today. Call me. The next strategy is what? The rich man's Roth. The Roth on steroids.
What's
so
that?
Clay, do you want the Roth on steroids?
Yeah, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we want more tax-free income. It's just a matter of creating an extra pool of money. It's an extra $300,000 or $400,000 that you didn't have yesterday.
Yeah.
So that $1 million is now $1.4 million. It's that extra little step that allows you to retire early. The extra step to say you'll have tax-free income for the rest of your life. And it's also a health care plan built in there on top of that. So in the event you got sick, your wife doesn't have to worry so much that you spend down your assets and leave her with nothing.
Yeah.
She feels good about it as well.
Well, let me ask you, for the average person out there who's working, doing okay, but they're check to check, right? What do they do? Where do they begin? Because they don't. Let's say they don't have the 401k or the cash in the bank. What do they do?
Look, no matter who you are and where you are in your life, it's all about your expenses.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Too many young people are living over their heads per se. Even your next door neighbor per se, maybe traveling too many times in a year and spending too much money. So
maybe buying that Bugatti is a bad idea.
Well, probably a bad idea, right? But at the same time, is look at the fundamentals. Is what are you spending?
Yeah.
I'll give you a spreadsheet and list all your expenses monthly to nail it down. Now we can make a backwards plan to figure out, is there $10 we can save, $50 we can save? You'd be surprised when we do just that, we can find money to save.
But how hard is it to get people to commit to that? Because I tell people, I don't go to the gym because of motivation. You got to be disciplined because you don't feel like it, but you got to do it.
I would say you got to find a coach. You've been coached your whole life. I've been coached my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, here I am every Tuesday, 8 o'clock in the morning. I got to take that call. I know I'm being held accountable. So if you want to be held accountable, I ask people, do you want to be held accountable? Smart people say yes.
Right.
That's who I want to work with, people that are serious about their money. Let's face it, if you go to the doctor and you don't listen to the doctor's not going to work with you. So I'm looking for people that want advice, that wouldn't mind paying for it, and ultimately hold you accountable. That's what we're doing. Well,
you know, nothing for free is worthwhile. So let's talk a little bit about how people can reach you if they want to find out more.
So BrianLowFinancial.com. You can also listen just on the radio every Saturday at 1 o'clock on WJBO.
Yeah.
And BrianLowFinancial.com.
And you know, I'll end with just this question. For someone hearing you now, what's the number one thing you want them to remember, to take away from this conversation?
Yeah. You got to be able to save, pay yourself first. The old saying is make that orange envelope, put some money in there, pay yourself first, and we'll find a place to put it.
Well, listen, Brian's been doing this a long time, and I think that he can be valuable to you. Next week, Stephen Wagaspak is going to be on the show to talk about how businesses across the state of Louisiana are doing, and we'll spend some time talking a little bit about what's happening with crime here and car burglaries. My goodness, it's out of control. So we'll have a conversation about that next week. And thank you again. 1 year worth of shows.
I love it.
Getting it done.
Seems like yesterday you called me and said I'm starting this conversation.
See you next week.